but you might pass on how difficult it's got through the website, through the chat, all the way, and then be told to phone up.
Oh, what was that?
Okay, bye.
Oh, somebody's on the phone. I was getting really confused then. So if you could just...
I've got Bijou's screen on. I've lost the rest.
Oh, I think, can you see the presentation? It says Zoom functions, Lucy.
It says this meeting is being recorded by host or participant.
Zoom. Oh, if you just click OK, then you should be back.
It says got it, leave meeting.
Yeah, so if you click that, that should go away then, I think.
No, it's still there.
Ooh. So we seem to be having problems with Zoom today, so apologies. We'll try our best to get through the session. Hopefully we won't have any more technicals. If you're happy, could you put yourself on mute then, and we'll make a start.
I am on mute. Wait a minute.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. You're on mute now. So first of all, I'll just go through who I've got on my from my team who's here today, and so myself. So I am Experience and Relationships Manager. You know me anyway, but for the Leicestershire and Rutland Integrated Care Board, we've got Bij. Bij, can you come in?
Yeah, morning. Good morning, everyone. So I'm PPG Varja, Insights and Experience Officer for the LLR-ICB.
Thanks, Bij. We've got Kirsty.
Hello, I'm Kirsty Swinfield. I work with Joe.
Thanks, Kirsty. I think Kirsty's doing some notes today. And then we've got Jit, who's here as well in the background. Jit, are you happy to say hello?
Hello, everyone. Jit Parrick, working with the ICB team and engagement.
Thanks, Jit. So we've got a really brief update for you, and then Bij is going to give you a bit of an update on the volunteer campaign that we have talked about and all the work that we've been doing with primary practice managers and getting volunteer campaign. Ooh, that's loud. Just make sure you're on mute. We seem to be getting some horrible feedback for some reason. Then we're going to come on to reaching people, and we'll have time. Sorry, then I'm going to come on at the urgent and emergency care presentation and get through that as best as I can. Then I'm going to pass over to Andrew and Friday from reaching people. And of course, you've got time to give any questions or any updates if you want to. Just to give you a really brief update. So first of all, Sue would normally do this part, and Sue is on leave, sunning herself. Jan, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, did you want me to say a little bit of something about Jennifer?
Yes, I was going to come on to that next, if that's all right.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
So I don't have much of an update, but yeah, that was what I was going to say. So, so first of all, what we wanted to say is that some really sad news. Unfortunately, we have lost one of our members who has sadly passed away, and that is Jennifer Canderton, and she's from South Leicestershire Medical Group, PPG. So we do have Brigitte and Jan with us from who did know Jennifer. So I wonder, is it Jan, if we'd like to pass to you just to say a few words, if that's okay. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sadly we lost Jennifer, and she was a great member of the PPG, and I think some of you might have come across her over the years because she's been involved in a huge amount of healthcare organisations. I mean, just very quickly from her biography, she worked at the Student Health Centre at Leicester University. She was part of the RBS and hospital organiser up until 1981 for all the NHS hospitals within the city of Leicester. She was the voluntary service district organiser for Market Harborough until 1992, a member of the former Leicestershire Health Authority teaching from 1988 until the new reforms in 1992. She was the lay chair to chair patient complaint panels and disciplinary hearings appeals from the former Trent Regional Authority. She was Mental Health Act Manager for Leicestershire Partnership, NHS Trust and the private sector from 1985 up until her death. And I just think that she was an absolute force of nature, and we will miss her.
Thank you ever so much. I mean, what a lovely tribute you've given there. Brigitte, I don't know if you wanted to
Just
come in and
to, only just to support what Jan said, and again, just stating that we really will miss her. She was a great member of our PPG with lots of interesting experience. It's very sad. Thank you.
So
Yeah,
our
thanks,
thoughts
Jo.
go out to you both and to everybody else within the PPG. We have heard from Jennifer's husband. So I mean, to come and give your time anyway to come and work for the PPG is fantastic. And you know, I mean, the amount that she's done over the years, that's unbelievable. So she will be sorely missed. And thank you ever so much for your kind words. And I think that's a really lovely tribute that you've just given. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as I say, I don't have much of an update. What I'd like to do is hand over to Beige if I can, just to give you a bit of an update on the volunteer programme. I also want to give an update on just a couple of things that we've got in the pipeline at the moment that we're working on, but I'd like to just cover off Beige first, if that's okay, because it's very related to PPGs and the activity that you're involved in.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Jo. So morning everyone. Last year, December rather, we talked about a volunteer sort of recruitment campaign. Now originally we said we're looking to sort of launch it all this week. However, due to sort of other workloads and priorities, we're going to shift it back a bit because we want to get this sort of correct and right rather than sort of just rushing it. So just a bit of an update of where we currently are. So I think the keen, well, what everyone seems keen on is the toolkit for both yourselves and also for practice managers. So I've started developing that. Now I think it was Jan, you said you're doing something similar, so I think it would be helpful if we maybe caught up to see what we're kind of developing, and we could kind of do a bit of co-design. But also I'd love to get once I've sort of completed a draft, etc., I'd love to get your view on this, because it's important to have your eyes on this. From PPG members, it's important that we do get this right. The other things that we've started is working with a sort of marketing agency, if you like, but don't be put off by the term, because they're very good in sort of targeting, for example, younger audiences if we need to, people from various backgrounds. So discussions are being had there, what they can provide with us. And also practices themselves are quite keen, obviously on the toolkit, but other materials as well to sort of promote this campaign, and they're very happy to jump on board with this. So we're working on things like designing assets, and also for you guys as well to use within your own PPGs and your communities. So I guess the sort of status of play is that we very much in development, but as I said, it's just pushed back, and we're looking to get this up and running now, the toolkit anyway, by the sort of first week of Feb. So fingers crossed, and like I said, between now and then I hope to give you guys a sort of a draft, and any feedback will be most welcome for the toolkit in particular. I'm just looking at the chat, so thank you, Jan. I'll catch up with you offline, and we can maybe catch up on Zoom or something to see where we both are, and that'll be good just to compare as a starting point.
That's fine.
Thank you, Jan. Any other sort of comments or views or at this point?
I think just to explain a little bit, so for anybody that may have missed this, we're doing a volunteer campaign. So this will be a wide-reaching campaign to encourage people to get involved in volunteering in the NHS. And of course, a big part of that is PPGs, and this is where it's been heavily supported by a lot of our GP practices, particularly our practice managers. So out of the 136 GP practices, we're actively working with over 90 where they've said, yes, we really want support with this now. We feel we're at that point where we really, since COVID, we need to come back and really think about our PPGs. So we are doing a campaign on all volunteering. Sorry, my phone's going off. All volunteering opportunities, particularly for those kind of things that people don't traditionally think about volunteering. So not things like porters or working out of the hospital, but more the kind of thing that you get involved in. So if people are happy to give up their time for maybe an hour a month, or they want something where they can just dip in and out of, it will involve things like our citizens panel, our PPGs, our other things that we've got going on that people might be interested in. So our toolkit is going to be split. Some of it's going to be very focused on PPG activity and getting people to sign up, and some of it's going to be wider than that. So I just wanted to explain that for anyone that may have missed what the campaign is about. But we will be doing some targeted social media activity, and we are interested in looking at younger groups as well, those people that may be thinking about doing things for their CV, could join a PPG and offer some skills or resource to you. So they might be really good at social media or a bit of marketing, and they want to have a go at broadening their scope. So we're looking at lots of different ways of getting people involved and just promoting the volunteering opportunities.
Thank you, Jo.
So, are there any questions from anybody, or does anybody want to make any comment on that? I'll just put my phone on silent before someone rings. No? Okay. So as I say, Beige has put it back. We're not going to do a big launch. We're going to do it in pieces, and that's because there's lots of things happening. We want to be able to just keep going with this over a course of a few weeks. So we're hoping that beginning of Feb, this is going to start to come out. But as Beige said, we would like your involvement in that and your tips and views on what you think would work. So Beige will be in touch about that. Okay. All right, Beige.
Yeah, thanks, Jo.
Thank you. I just have two updates just to let you know about. One of them is that you may have seen through emails which came out on Monday that we have just launched quite a large-scale engagement on the Hinckley and District Hospital. Some of you will be more aware than others because you live in the area or in the surrounding areas. But we've got some proposals to redevelop that site, and we've just gone live on a six-week engagement period. So if you would like any literature sending out to you, any hard copies, it's all available on our website. If you want anything and you can help support, we'd love to hear from you. I have heard from some of you already, so thank you, and you will be invited to come and support us at some events where you're available. But yes, we're very focused on getting some active promotion on that at the moment. So a lot of our work is around that area. JIT is leading on that at the moment. Kirsty's just put in the chat box the website. It's got everything on there. But again, you want any hard copies, if you let us know, we can make sure we send those out to you. The area is Hinckley and Bosworth, but of course it does go wider than that because some people may want to give their views that live outside of that area, and that's absolutely fine. So for example, Alan, Markfield, you do have some residents that actually do sit in that, they actually reside in Hinckley and Bosworth. So we have communicated, Alan's all over it already, which is great. We have been working with that practice to target those residents. I mean, there's some that are right on the border, but anyone can give their views. That's absolutely fine. So you will see that out and about. And thanks, Alan Plumpton. I know you're heavily involved in the promotion of that as well. So thanks for your support on that. I know we've talked many times about our Volunteering Community and Social Enterprise Alliance, because we've asked you if you want to join via your PPG, you can absolutely do that. There's lots of things on the website really that we're promoting at the moment. If you are interested, do have a look. I'll just ask Kirsty if you could just put the email address in the chat box for that. If you've not already created a username and password to log in, then please do so. You can go and have a look. Some of our PPGs are on there, and they've actually added themselves as directory entries, so you can see. But you're more than welcome to go on and have a look. And you will, if you do add a directory entry, you will be invited to join a forum as well, which is online. Completely up to you, but that is available for you as well. I'm just reading, Alan, you said about Markford residents have been told there's engagement here tomorrow. Yes, there is. So We've been working with a local organisation to do sort of our rural engagement for us. We've just done some social media posts this morning on that event that's happening tomorrow. So anybody that wants just to drop in, they can have some conversations in the library. And that's, but again, what I will do is I'll send you that post if you want to do anything on next door or anything like that. So we'll make sure we get that out to you today. Just make a note. We've got lots of Facebook posts and things like that as well, if you're happy to forward on, or if you want anything from us, as I say, let us know. We'll make sure you've got those. Okay, so now, if it's all right with you, I'm going to move on to what Chris West was going to present. And I know I'm not going to be able to do justice here, but I have had a read. So as I say, any questions, make a note and we'll get them back to Chris. I'll just cover off what's in the slides as best that I can. I thought it was important that you still saw this. So that's going off the screen a little bit, Beige. I'm not sure why that is, but I can read it. But you will have a copy of these. So this is talking about the urgent and emergency care situation. So Chris West is very much part of this work, and it's all about looking at what's going on in any of our urgent and emergency care services. So not just A&E, but our urgent treatment centres. And as you'll be aware, they're called all sorts of things across the area. So that's something that we're looking to address. But as you'll see, there's lots of challenges that they're facing. Of course, as we all know, access to primary care is an ongoing problem for us, and it's very patchy right across Leicestershire and Rutland. We've got a large number of people attending the emergency department, and although we're not classed as critical at the moment, although we were before Christmas, of course that's a lot more than we can cope with. So they are coping, but it's huge numbers at the moment. There are delays in ambulance handovers to the emergency department team as well, and that's usually causing a bit of a backup through all of our discharge and things like that, which I'll come on to and show you what we do to kind of cope with that. And we do have a large number of very unwell people, particularly with respiratory problems that are associated to flu or COVID, and that does continue to be an ongoing issue through the winter period, particularly for us in Leicestershire. Leicestershire and Rutland. Of course, we have also got challenges with the industrial action, and that does impact on us. There was one on Monday, and it continues. So you may have read in the papers that the physios are on strike at the moment. I don't actually know if that's local for us. Some of them affect us locally, some of them don't, but it is ongoing, and it does impact on us as well. So lots of challenges that we're facing. If you come on to the next slide, please, Beige. Okay, so as I've said, what's being done to improve access then? So there is an increase in GP appointments available, and we are, when we benchmark ourselves against other areas, we are actually providing a greater number than we were. Enhanced access, so that's Monday to Friday and Saturdays. You'll see the ask there, you know, they're all in place, and that is available as out of hours GP access. There's also increased access to urgent care centres as well, via NHS 111, and also directly from ED. So if people have felt that they shouldn't be in the emergency department, they will refer them to urgent care centres as well and redirect them to where they should be seen. With regards to emergency, I'm not as familiar with this, so apologies. But they have, if you see at the bottom, they have increased their hours for the Miami service, and that's the minor injuries and minor illness surgery, which is actually at A&E. So again, they've increased their hours, so they take a lot of the work that again shouldn't be in ED into minor injuries and minor illnesses. They've got a multi-agency hub as well, where they're coordinating activity, and this is ongoing. They do this every day, where they sit and look at what they need to be doing and where things are coming in through the ambulance as well, and whether they can be redirected to alternative services to really keep ED free for those that really need it. And apologies, I don't know what the graph is about, but if we want clarity on that, we can get that for you. Next slide, please. So as I've mentioned, there are ambulance handover delays, and they are, anybody that's waiting in an ambulance or haven't actually gone into ED yet are monitored and checked by a senior clinician, and making sure that they're getting what they need from ambulances. The other thing that you may have heard about is they've got what's called a pod and or a bus. So that's basically like a pop-up that they've got down at A&E, and they hate saying it's a bus, but they do have places that are available that are being used where they can release ambulances, people can get the care that they need before they go into A&E. So, and that means they can then attend to people that are waiting and clear the ambulances. You know, the main thing is that they're really working to make room during times of extreme pressure. And, you know, there is extreme pressure. So anything we can do to keep patients out of A&E, that is very much the priority. So, oh, sorry, I'm just reading it because I don't really understand this part. But again, it's all about moving people along the pathway of where they need to be seen. So if they can be seen in urgent and emergency care, then they will move them to there as well. And of course, this is all about making sure that ambulances are available in the community and at people's homes. So this also means that some wards are taking extra patients and it is beyond their allotted capacity. So it is a really challenging time for staff, and it's for a limited time. So people will go in just to manage what's going on at ED. But of course, this does have an impact on individuals and of course staff, and it is being closely looked at because, you know, staff are very busy and we need to make sure that they're coping and that they're doing okay for themselves as well as for their patients. Next slide, please. So some of you may have seen this before, and this is very much what they're looking at. When it comes to who needs what care and where, there are different levels of tiers. So you'll see at the top there is tier 4. So that's our patients that need the most care and they do need the service down at the emergency department. It's structured in a triangle because that is really should be the least amount, you know, it's more complex care, it's the least amount of patients, and they're the ones that we really need to get in and make room for them because they need the care the most. Then you've got tier 3, so that's where we direct people to the Loughborough Urgent Treatment Centre. You know, it does have a lot of facilities there, and they can do a lot of activity, but it is not ED. Then you've got tier 2, which includes walk-in. So that's things like your urgent care centres and your minor injury units. Tier 1, so that is for those people that can be treated at GP practices out of hours through the enhanced access service. Some of those are called hubs, so in the city. There's also community pharmacy consultation service as well. I actually used one of those myself over Christmas and it was brilliant. And I think they were quite interested when I walked in and said, can I see a pharmacist? Because I haven't tried to go to see a GP. That's why they're there. They're available and we should be using those where we can. And tier 0 is general practice. And again, you absolutely can use that as well for pharmacies, and they do have consultation rooms as well. So you can go and talk to people if you do. This is really confusing, as you can see, but the main thing is to say that the general public that often use, most people tend to use a service that is above what they really need. So if they feel that I've got a bit of a sore throat, I think I'll ring my GP practice, they can be seen in a tier 0. You know, a lot of people can be seen in a tier 0 location, but often people kind of work upwards when really they need to be thinking about whether they can be seen in another environment rather than going up to ED. So if you look at ED, it should be just our most complex patients and the patients that it really is life or death. And I know you know this, but this is the kind of work that Chris is looking at on a day-to-day basis. Next slide, please. So access to general practice, as we know, this is really challenging and continues to be challenging. But we now have all of our primary care networks providing enhanced access services. And at the moment, we have got double running of services to make sure that we're covering everything that we need to cover. And again, you know this, but appointments can be booked in a number of ways. And evenings and weekends as now are covered. And again, I don't think I need to cover any of this because you will know all of this. But again, it's a really useful slide if you want to talk to any of your patients about what they can do, how they access it. And you'll see again, you've got your home visiting services available through through your GP as well. Next slide, please. So I don't know this one as well. So, you know, as I've mentioned, the main thing is about getting people into the right place at the right time. And it says there, GP practices have a holistic responsibility across both urgent, complex and preventative. So they will work through right from whether they can give advice on symptoms and advise self-care right through before they do anything else to get to E&D. So we're really doing everything that we can do to protect ED. So, you know, there is access to same day urgent care, but there's lots of other things other than ED. So a lot of people are still going there where we're trying to advise otherwise. Next slide. Okay, and here is a list of all of the urgent treatments or care centres and the emergency departments that, again, really good slide if you want to advise any of your patients that you're talking to about where they could go and the times that they're open right across the area. Some of them are outside of our area, and some of them, you know, if you're living in Rutland, for example, you know, you might choose Peterborough or some of those right on the edge of the area. So, again, these are all available and offering different things, but it shows you the difference between what is classed as urgent treatment in care centres and an ED department. But again, it's very tricky explaining ED when people want to see somebody and feel that there is a need. Often they will end up there when there are other places to go. Next slide. Okay, so we'll stop sharing if that's okay. So apologies, I've read through the slides. I don't know the level of detail. I know there's going to be questions. So with regards to the graph, we can absolutely get some understanding on that because I don't know it. So we'll get that for you. We've got a hand up. Karen, do you want to come in?
Hello there.
Hi, Karen.
Hopefully you can hear me.
We can.
Video won't start. I'm not quite sure why, but oh, there we go.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, see,
no, it's not set up. There you go. Hello. I just wondered. Saw on a Facebook announcement yesterday about it's a really good place to follow to get updates and everything. The LLR NHS Facebook page. I find it very useful, and it was talking about a new transfer unit. I think it was called that's been set up. I think it might be a porter cabin, but it's been set up somewhere at LRI, and it's literally for patients to go when they need a bed, but they're waiting to be allocated a space on a ward. And I think it was a 10-bed unit with, you know, staffing, monitors, etc., etc. And I spoke, and there was a comment further down from somebody who'd had to have an ambulance to a parent early on in the month, and there was a long delay, etc., etc. The day this transfer unit had been set up, she got an ambulance response to her other parent an awful lot quicker. She said, I wasn't expecting you. And he said, they're getting their act together at LRI. The handovers are really improving. So, and I think the transfer unit, so it frees up, it frees up a bed in emergency from ambulance. So that I only saw that yesterday, but it looked very good. The other small suggestion, and it may not be a good idea, but I know that at least once in the past, the main presenter hasn't been able to attend this morning, and I fully understand why and the pressures and everything. And I just wondered, is it worth that the main presenter doing, I don't know, a 10-minute presentation of the slides to video? I know it's an extra time, but so that if this does happen, we'd have at least somebody who, you know, could explain it through. I don't know. It's just a suggestion that I thought of. Thank you. I'll shut up now.
Great, thanks, Karen, and really good points there. So first of all, I think it'd be really good for us to get something on the transfer unit. I have heard about it. I don't know if it's part of what I was saying about the pod and the bus, but I'll see what we can get on that, because that sounds really good. Funnily enough, when we met this morning to say that Chris wasn't able to attend, Kirsty has made that suggestion. So it's a really good, and just said, actually, in future, maybe we should do this. And you're absolutely right. So that's something that I think we're going to see if we can get in the future. I mean, we found out yesterday, unfortunately, really late. So there was nothing we could do. But I think that going forward, that is such a good idea, and we'll see what.
Great minds think alike, Kirsty.
Brilliant idea. So excellent. So we'll definitely take that forward. Thank you. Phil, do you want to come in?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. I might be crackling a bit. You mentioned a couple of times 111. I'm the Secretary of Uppingham PPG, and 2 instances that are reported to me recently. A waiting time on 111 of 1 hour 15 to be told to contact the GP, which was closed. The second one, a 1 hour 05 waiting time to be told to go to A&E. And we're already 30 minutes from A&E, and patients are just saying now, we're not going to bother with this number, we'll just go anyway. And it's not helping your system as reported on the slides.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, that's quite, I mean, that's a long time, isn't it, to be waiting and then be told that you've actually could have gone to A, well, you should have gone to A&E in the first time, and the other way as well. I will feed that back to NHS 111 and let them know if that's okay. Because they need to know that, and I'll just pick that up with Chris as well and just see, because is it in that presentation it says that they've got extended hours there, you know, they've got more access going through there, but I just need to just see what the situation is. So thanks for letting me know, because I think that's really important that I feed that back. Thank you, Phil. Has anybody else got any other questions or anything that you'd like to put me? Oh, got some hands going up. Right, so Alan first. Thank you.
Yeah, apologies. I don't seem to have a raise hand option on the Zoom at the moment. A question I put in the chat actually is, when people turn up at ED, are they redirected away if their visit is not appropriate, or are they still allowed in? Are people sent away if it's the inappropriate place for them to be?
Yeah, they I believe so. I'll ask for an update exactly on what they're doing, because they're changing so many things. But yeah, they there's the Miami, which is the minor illness and ailment service as well. So they will they won't even get through to A&E. It's triage right at the start. They'll get or they'll be made another appointment elsewhere. Okay. So I'll have that conversation, but I'll just get the detail on that, just see if I can get more information just to be sure.
Thanks for that.
Oh, Jit's waving. Have you got an answer on that, Jit?
Sorry, Alan. Just to give you, so if people are attending A&E and they are minor in terms of it's not urgent, they get triaged. Obviously, everyone gets triaged once you enter A&E, and there is a GP service, so almost like an out-of-hour GP service within A&E, where you near the reception area, and vast majority of people are diverted into that area to go and see a GP because it's not urgent, it's not life-threatening at the end of the day. So that service is available. And from my understanding is that they are piloting another avenue as well, where they've got PCN appointments for GP practices, where they're trying to direct people out as well when it's too busy as well. So that, Alan, that bit is a pilot thing, but the other bit is solid. So when you go in, if it's not urgent, they will put you into waiting queue where you go and see a GP or clinician to advise you.
Thanks, Jit.
Yeah, and that's called the Miami service,
yeah.
I believe. So, Susan, you had your hand up and then took it back down. Do you want to come in? You're on mute at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, I just wondered if anything was being done about recruiting more locums, or at least getting locum agencies to honour the appointments that they make, because I understand there are cases when a locum should turn up at a surgery and doesn't turn up, and that surgery is already short of staff through illness and bereavements and what have you. Is it being looked at about the locums?
That's something I can take back and find out from the team and just see if we can get an update for you, because it's not something we don't know that level of detail, but we can ask a question and bring that back if that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely, thanks. I've made a note of that one. Is there anything else that, I mean, if you think of anything else, let me know. I'll have a read through the chat box.
I think Alan's, yeah, Alan Mark.
I thought that was a clap or a wave or something. Alan, do you want to come in?
I never clap, Joe.
I should know better, shouldn't I?
You should know better, yeah. Right. I'm not sure whether Paul Siddles is here or not, but we put out a load of stuff on extended access, all the bits and bobs that comprise extended access, and a little video out. There is an issue here because you put all the stuff out on extended access and then you've got all the urgent care centres. So patients are totally confused. So I put the stuff out on all the bits on extended access, which is, I think, 5 different little slide things. And then Paul says, but there's Loughborough, there's this, that and the other. So somebody needs to put a comprehensive thing with the urgent care centres and the extended access all in one place, so people know everything that's available.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. I think so. There is a campaign called Get in the Know.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I haven't looked myself. I wonder, Kirsty, if you could put the the web address in the chat. I can feed that back. I mean, I know that's something that they're looking at, and especially if you look at urgent and emergency care, they're called minor injury units. They're called all sorts of things across the area, aren't they? It's really
but that's what's confusing.
Yeah.
If you're putting out saying you've got all this extended access everywhere and you can go to, for us, Ashby or Long Lane, depending which one's doing the out of hours, but they don't know about the other ones, then they could have gone there, or whichever way around. It all needs to be in one place, and clearly it all isn't in one place. If I can't find it in one place, but prove me wrong, how the hell do patients expect to do it?
Yeah, rightly so. And I know the aim is that, you know, of course, the first protocol is GP practice, but when you can't get through to the GP practice, then what? And what it all does depend on what the problem is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
no, what
yeah,
I'm saying is, sorry, Joe.
That's
what
right.
I was saying is, I've put out stuff, and I'm sure my colleagues have, about the out of hours services, where they are, how you access them. But I wasn't aware myself that, oh, Paul's here, he'll mention it himself, that there was that as well.
Yeah.
So there are so many services, and perhaps if everybody was aware of all of them, then they wouldn't all rush down to A&E.
Yeah, it is confusing. There's an awful lot out there, isn't there?
I'm sure Paul's hands up, so I'm sure he'll carry on the discussion. Thanks, Joe.
Lovely, thanks, Alan. So I'm going to come to Paul, then we've got Phil, Lucy and Brigitte, and then we'll move on if that's okay. If you've got anything else, please put it in the chat though, and we'll pick them up. So Paul, do you want to come in?
Well, yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just, I got a question from a patient. A question from a patient saying, what were they supposed to do? And as I understand it, if you want enhanced access, basically the practice is going to give you that. There isn't another, you know, patients aren't expected to know more numbers than their GP, their practice number and 111. They're not expected to be able to contact other services. So as I understand it, the enhanced access comes through your practice. So you ring up and they say, oh, can you go to so and so, we've made an appointment for you. Off you go to Ashby or Colville in our case.
Yeah.
Or if you can't get through to anybody, you've got to ring 111 unless you've got heart attack or stroke, in which case, or being dead, in which case you ring 999. So, but it's a little bit unclear, I think.
Yeah, and you're right, and how you've explained it is actually correct, but it's not obvious, is it, that that's what people need to do? So I shall take that back and we'll speak to the comms department. I know they're planning a few things with regards to getting messages out on access, so I just need to let them know the feedback that you've given. So thank you for that.
Just one last word. If you can try and think of the patients, they can't expect to have loads of phone numbers. Basically, 111 and the GP practice is as much as you can expect them to do.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, lovely. Thank you for that. So I'm going to come to Phil next, and then Lucy. And then Brigitte. So Phil.
Yeah, just to confirm what Paul has just said. Our PCN has categorically said there is no walk-in enhanced access available. Access is for the doctors to move people sideways to reduce on the surgery, and they can use enhanced access, but we have been forbidden and told by the PCN that there is no such thing as walk-in enhanced access. So in fact, there's no need to publish it as far as I can see.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and you're absolutely right. So I think traditionally people think that GP practices are open sort of 9 till 6. So it's basically saying you can be seen at other times, but you're right, there is no walk-in access for that. And that's a really good message. So you've made a really good point there. Thanks, Phil. Lucy.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
I'd like to talk about some experience I've had not being able to access urgent care centre. I'm talking on Oldby. It was on a Saturday, and when I tried to get through, both closed. And that happened, unfortunately, twice to me. I finished up having to be taken to Loughborough because even though I have transport, a car, I wasn't well enough. I needed immediate prescription. That's all I needed. An Enderby would have been. And the last time I went to Loughborough, I was taken there and we sat 6 hours. I just wondered, I haven't had any further details. Is there any way that you can give a list of which urgent centres are still open, the times that are open? Because this happened to me twice. And if it happened to me, it will happen to other people. And not everybody is got somebody available to take them to Loughborough.
Yeah, so the presentation I've just shared is when the surgeries are open. If it isn't for any reason at those times, let me know and I'll see what could have happened, because they should.
That's happened, and it was just, and this was on a Saturday morning.
Yeah,
Enderby, Oldby, I know whether Oldby had stopped altogether, but since then I've heard apparently they are open. I don't know.
Yeah, they are.
I'd like to pass this on at the next, I belong to the Counterthorpe, and I'd like to pass on this information and update patients the surgery.
So if we get in touch with you, Lucy, separately, we can follow that up with you. Is that okay?
That'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you.
I'll drop you an email separately.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. So just last but not least, we'll come to you, Brigitte, to close the section, if that's all right.
Yes, it's going to be a quick question. It seems to me we are getting so. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It seems to me there are so many messages. Which
Lucy, can you mute, please?
Very stupid.
Thank you.
Right. There seem to be, to me, there are so many messages where you can get some service, And I really feel it needs coordinating. It's about A&E reducing it. All the problems we have with the National Health Service, it isn't coordinated. It seems to me that you can go to one walk-in centre, but you can't go to another one. You know, there seems to me an awful lot of possibly duplication. And I really think that the PCNs, because they have an overview over all the services available, they need to get to, well, I'm sure they are getting together and working together, but it needs to be a clear message that if you've got a minor injury, you can go there and there times and so on. Not this, you know, there are a huge number of messages. And often if you're really not that well, you're not in a position to make a decision, where should I go? You want to have the information on hand, but it's got to be comprehensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it's easier said than done, I realise that.
But yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
So what we'll do, we'll get an update from comms, because that's what the area that they're looking at about promotion of what's what. So I'll it might be that we ask for a response from comms to give a view on that. I know there's so thank you, Brigitte. I know there's other things that have come into the chat box, and Kirsty will capture those and we'll share them with you as well. So if you want anything that's in there, or we'll respond to anything we've not picked up. So thank you so much. Thanks for being kind, because I didn't know the content of that, but I did want to share it with you. You will have a copy, but we'll get the responses back for you on a number of those things that you've asked.
So could I just add one more thing? If you're trying to get through to 111, they are under contract with the National Health Service. They must deliver. There isn't a choice. You know, if you're an hour, then that is not a service. It has to be an instant response. It cannot be like one of the ladies said, you couldn't get through, it was an hour and an hour, 10 minutes and so on. That's not good enough. Somebody's got to control that contract.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all.
Yeah, good points there. Thank you. Thanks, Brigitte, and thanks for all your comments that you've made and shared with us as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to introduce Andrew and Friday, who are going to take us through a project that they've been working on, if that's okay. They do have a presentation which they're going to share. Hopefully you've got the rights to do that through the system. But if you're okay, if you could introduce yourself. So Andrew, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, I'll let Friday go first, because she's the PM for project manager for Health Plus. So I don't overstep.
There's no hard feelings. There's no hard feelings, honestly. But hi, my name is Friday, and I work for Reaching People, and I run a project called Health Plus. Now we're going to go into what Health Plus is about in a bit, but I just wanted to sort of give you a bit of my background. So I've worked on digital skills for the last 5 years. I've started at the University of York looking at what constitutes digital skills for the workforce there. And then during COVID, from January 2021, I set up a project around digital inclusion for over 50s in Leicester. And just to say, I do this all remotely. And we helped over 50s, and some of our oldest clients were in their 90s, to get online and to access digital. And then in August 2021, I was invited to run a Health Plus project, which we'll go into detail in later. And that is more around working with GP surgeries, helping people to get online and use the NHS app. But I'll just hand you over to Andrew before we go into more detail. And just to say, we're going to show a short animation at the beginning, which is what we use to put on GP screens in the reception area to tell people a bit more about our project in a kind of friendly way. Okay, Andrew.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I worked alongside Friday on the Health Plus program from the beginning, but more in the background. So I've been putting together what Health Plus surgery looks like hosted within surgeries, and also looking after the evaluation for that project as well. And now with a new role, I'm also helping Friday with leading on the PPG offer that we're going to make today.
Great, thanks. And over to you. Thanks for joining, and over to you.
So if you could just show the animation, thank you.
Booking slots are now available for Health Plus digital sessions, offering you 1 hour with a Health Plus digital companion. Health Plus digital companions are here to help you to build your digital skills confidence. Health Plus digital companions can help you to download, open and use the NHS app. They can show you how to book appointments or order repeat prescriptions online. Health Plus sessions are for any patient at this surgery who is aged 50 and over. Reception staff will give you a copy of your login and password to sign into GP online services. You will need a proof of address to register for your surgery's online services. You will need a photo ID to register for the NHS app. You can use your own phone, tablet or laptop at the Health Plus session, but make sure it is fully charged. Remember to bring your email name and don't forget your password. Want to book a 1-hour session with a Health Plus digital companion? Ask at reception for more information and how to book onto a Health Plus digital session. Share your video.
Okay, thank you. And Andrew's now just going to put up some slides. We haven't got too many, I hope. We've got questions, a room for questions at the end too.
Yeah, if I can just be allowed to share, that would be great.
I think Beige will just be giving you some access.
It's very quiet.
Beige, are you there?
Has that worked?
There we go.
Yeah, that's working. Thank you. So as I've already mentioned, Health Plus is the name of our project, and you've probably gathered a bit of information from that animation that we just showed. And it has been supported by NHS charities together through our local NHS charities, Leicester Hospitals Charity and Raising Health. We cover Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. So this is just an example of one of the sort of campaigns we did to help recruit people. Yes, we do want lovely people to help the patients and people, you know, who just at the basic level of digital skills. So we put quite a lot of these posters up and put them on social media to try and put in the right type of people for this role. So the main role that we have is a Health Plus digital companion, and this is part of the offer, the training offer that we want to give to PPGs. So what we do is we provide, the crux of the offer to patients is that we provide one-on-one support in a doctor's surgery, or it would be in a local organisation where a doctor's surgery just doesn't have the capacity. And we spend 1 hour and we work with them at their speed. So we don't go in with this agenda, we're going to get through this and we're going to cover this. Yes, of course, we want to help them use the NHS app and use GP online services, but it could be they might want to find health information online. And but we start where they are, because we've learned from our work that there's many digital skills required to sign on to the NHS app. And so we train our digital companions to provide 1 hour support to patients, and within the support we're offering basic digital skills support to address their digital issues. And our offer is to provide the relevant training and a shadowing opportunity for people who are interested. So currently we're already working in a number of surgeries in Leicester, and we've previously worked in Leicestershire too. So as I said, in the digital sessions we provide 1 hour of support, and generally we train our volunteers to go into a surgery for 1 day a week over say 8 weeks, but we're very flexible about this offer. One surgery just asked, could we support them on a Saturday? And I've been able to find a volunteer who could support them on a Saturday. And we help patients to use their devices rather than showing them in a classroom setting on a different device, when they go home, it's very hard for them to replicate. And we help them to use their GP systems. And we've learned that most surgeries have different, there are different online systems for different surgeries. So we very much, in the early days, we meet with the surgery and we try to understand how they work, how they want the patients to use their services. And we learn about the demographic as well. So we don't go in assuming that every surgery is going to be the same. And we ask our volunteers to evaluate each session. And what's been really good about this is you'll see further on in the slides that my companion Andrew has done a great job of pulling out the data to find out, well, what are we actually helping people with? What do people need support with? And we've also discovered in this that sometimes people might not learn something in the first session, but by the third session, they can then do the thing they'd hoped to do, which maybe was using the NHS app, but it takes time. And as I said, I think this is very much built on the background of our work with over 50s, you know, all the way up to 90s, and knowing that we can't rush this. This is not going to something that happens overnight. We need to take our time when we help people. And we also train our volunteers in something called health literacy, which gives our volunteers tools on how to ensure that the information they're trying to teach is actually passed over to the patient. You can move on, Andrew. So, as I said, our offer to PPGs is that, oh, sorry, have you gone back? Oh yeah, sorry, I've gone forward one more. So our offer to PPGs is that we would provide you with training, which amounts to about 5 hours of training across a number of weeks, so it's not too intense. And then we'd give you like a shadowing opportunity at your surgery. And what we have learned from our journey is that this doesn't really work so well when there isn't really a main contact at the surgery, and where there is a main contact, it works so seamlessly. And what I mean by main contact is just someone who can be the point of call for us and our volunteers, and also for the patients, that they can explain exactly what we're trying to achieve in the surgery, but they can also tell our volunteers if, say, you know, there's only been one booking this week, right, you know, there's no need to come in for the full 3 hours. And, you know, we work very closely. When we work closely like that, it's a real success. Sorry, I can't see the screen because it's on my phone. So it's 1 second. Oh yeah, so the other thing is we just ask that each volunteer who we train would be able to provide, you know, 8 weeks of support after they've had their training. That's fine. You can go on, Andrew. So I'm just going to hand over to Andrew here, and he's just going to talk a bit more about what actually happens in these sessions that we offer.
Yeah, so we thought you'd like to see what a PPG-led Health Plus surgery can look like. So as Friday alluded to earlier, the data tells us that patients are at different stages of their digital journey. So some have email and some don't, but we can help at all stages of the journey, helping set up an email account, just as well as helping set up the NHS app. So it's a journey, and the PPG support that we offer reflects this. So shadowing, where PPG members shadow me, for example, and I shadow them, covers the diverse nature of a Health Plus surgery. So even though we start from where the patient wants to begin, recognizing that people are at different points of their digital journey, we find the patients end up achieving more than they thought. So this chart and those preceding show this, as well as later case studies, which Friday will talk through at the end of the presentation. So what you can see now, this is what a Health Plus surgery looked like at Saffron Lane. We have 4 core learning areas. So booking an appointment, ordering a repeat prescription, checking medical records, and deciding to see a GP or go to A&E. which you can see here. And there are additional learning items, which I'll talk about later on. So learning, things that have been learned directly at the Health Plus surgery and things that the patient wants to learn. You can see here it's references I would like to learn to do this, exceed more than 50% of patient achievements at Saffron Lane. So 82% in terms of booking an appointment, 71% of achievements in terms of ordering a repeat prescription, 88% in terms of checking medical records, and then 59% in terms of deciding to see a GP or go to A&E. What was interesting is we found that I was talking about the diverse nature of what happens at different surgeries that we're hosted at, and this is why we can adapt, and shadowing can be diverse as well as part of our offer. So at Forest House, which is another surgery that we're currently at, learning around deciding to see a GP or go to A&E represents 16% of learning. So that compares to nearly 60% that we saw at Saffron Lane. So this illustrates how flexible Health Plus surgery and shadowing can be. So again, these figures are from Saffron Lane, and illustrates what a typical Health Plus surgery looks like in terms of learning areas in addition to those four learning areas I talked about previously. So over 50% of Health Plus surgery at Saffron Lane was made up of three core components, which was I have learned how to register for online health services, which was 23%. I can log into the NHS app, which was 20%, and I can keep the information I use to access my online accounts secure, which made up the remaining 13%. Again, this looked different at Forest House, where 50% of learning was spread more evenly over a larger number of some of the learning areas that you can see here. Now, the interesting point is that despite the diverse nature at all Health Plus surgeries, confidence outcomes are similar. And this is what I want to end on today, which is talking about confidence levels. So this is data from Forest House, but confidence, positive confidence looks similar across all Health Plus surgeries. So you feel more confident about finding information online to do with your health and well-being, has a positive confidence level of 77%. You feel more confident using online services, has a positive confidence level of 92%, and your digital skills have improved, has a positive confidence level of 85%. So along with that data, we also use another measure to validate our achieved confidence level. So everyone gets asked, do you feel confident passing on what you've learned today to one other person or friend your age? So in the case of Forest House, near 70% answered yes. So just to end, a diverse Health Plus surgery and patients being at differing points in their journey is not detrimental to confidence. So I just want to pass back to Friday.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew. And so that's all the kind of quantitative data, but I think what we really do like to hear is, you know, the real differences we make in people's lives, and some really unexpected. So we were asked to collect a case study, and this was totally randomized, and it was based on a question that we had on the evaluation form, which is just, can we contact you in 3 months' time to find out, you know, how you're getting on? And from doing that, the first excerpt from a case study, which I think we can share with you at the end, just showed how one person, you know, was really quite concerned that, you know, it will be really difficult for her to try and get appointments in future. So she really wanted to use the NHS app, but she went away learning so much more than what she had hoped to. I think she said, you know, she only wanted to learn one thing, but then went away, you know, knowing so many other things. And then the second one is a lady who we spoke to about her experience, and she had a really positive feedback. And I think what it shows is it's about the volunteer mostly, and the fact that they were patient, they're understanding, and just someone being calm, which is often, especially when learning something digital. I know people can get quite frustrated, especially when it's your own family, and I know that from personal experience of my children, when they want to try and teach me something. So so what happened in that last case was that the lady had written everything down, and then when she was speaking to Andrew, she said, well, I forgot it all. So in hindsight, we arranged a second visit, and she reported back that she understood it much more again now. And so just to sort of wind up, really, I think what we're here today is to say that we have this offer to train PPGs, and the reason we wanted to train PPGs is that yes, we can send our volunteers in for so many weeks, but then what happens after that? We leave, and then where do people go? And from the very beginning, I've said to surgeries, it'd be really great to have someone in your community that we can train. And I think by reaching out to PPGs, we could, if anyone is interested, I mean, this is all optional, but if you'd like to receive the training for your own benefit and then to potentially pass on to other patients, we're here, and these are our contact details. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity for coming to talk today.
Great, thank you, Andrew and Friday. I mean, really interesting, and it's really good to see how much you've done. I mean, I know when we've talked about this project before, you'd said, some people are turning up and they don't even know how to turn on a computer, and you're actually in some cases going right back to basics on getting onto the internet and things like that. So it's a really good good service to offer. We are going to send the presentation out. Of course, if you want to get in touch with Friday and Andrew, you can do that via the presentation because the details are on there. But has anybody got any questions that they want to ask or comments or anything? No, well, that's good, isn't it? I see your presentation was very good. Oh, Alan, you want to come in?
Can I ask, this is free, is this free, totally free?
Yes, of course, I'm sorry, it's totally free. And we generally provide, there was a slide I think we might have just cut through, which was actually saying that we offer 5 hours of training, and it includes health literacy, online security, the apps training that are specific to your surgery. So as part of the process, our lead trainer will go into your surgery, learn about your apps, and then teach that back to the volunteers. And then there would also be a shadowing opportunity. And there's a question, sorry, did I answer that? Has that been answered to you?
Yeah, just in addition to that, is there with the follow-up and everything, then you can, there are sort of follow-up opportunities if you want to follow up, and is there a basic requirement of computer knowledge before you even start with a person?
We don't test computer knowledge. I think it's very much someone's got that right attitude, that they're happy to pick up a few new skills. We teach at a very basic level too, but we teach the fundamentals of online security as well, and but nothing too arduous. It's more that attitude of, yes, I would, I want to learn and I want to pass this on, and that interest, that's all we ask. And then what we offer is a shadowing opportunity, which is 1 to 2 weeks of you shadowing someone doing what you would need to do to kind of hold your hands with it. So yeah, so we hope that it's and then we've got a WhatsApp group where people can ask questions if they're stuck, and because things come up along the way, that we always sort of need to learn about as we go. But yeah, it's I feel quite a gentle approach. It's not, it's not going like back to school. It's quite a nice, friendly environment to sort of learn in.
Is there any electronic information you can send out to us?
Yeah, so that's all going to follow. And just to say that there's a comment I'm seeing coming up in the chat about equipment. And yes, equipment is, trying to get hold of equipment is a massive drawback. Now, for the project, we provide tablets to our volunteers, and on that we put the evaluation form, and they can use that to train, not to train others, but to explore things on the internet, etc. But really, we want to train people who've already got their own devices. I know there's a bigger issue and a wider issue about getting equipment. We have got a sister project starting up, which I could try and find some more information about, but it's called Refurb IT. Now, whether we can start accessing any IT equipment through them, I don't know, and I don't want to promise anything now. But I think we're really trying to help people who have got their equipment and are trying to use it, rather than we're going to provide equipment. And because I think that's another bigger separate issue that I don't think we could resolve in our project, if that answers your question, Anne and Alan.
Thanks, Friday.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. Just to say, Lucy, I've noticed that you want to come in a second, so you can put your hand down if you want. Otherwise, you'll be there a while. Karen, you were next. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you. I think it's really good. You've answered my question there, really. We basically do what we look at. The people that we're looking to help are the ones with a smartphone who've got access to 4G, for example, or those with a tablet that have got access to Wi-Fi at home. When it comes down to, you know, the basics that have got no access to Wi-Fi, etc., it's not really for them. But there are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of people out there that that I think we could help. So thank you for that. I thought it was very interesting, and I'd be interested to see the slides.
Thank you. I think Anne mentioned the Good Things Foundation. We work closely with the Good Things Foundation, yes, and there are possible avenues to explore there too. I mean, we've got sufficient number of tablets for now for volunteers, but we might need to get some more funding for more as well.
Yes.
And yeah, it is. Yeah, like you say, it's really for people who have got the phones and they don't know how to use them. And also we've got another part of our project where we're trying to produce videos for those who, you know, might be a bit more savvy but just don't know how to use the NHS app. But we're trying to get access to a dummy account for that to produce those videos. And you know,
actually, to be able to produce videos so that after they've had the training, that then when a reminder is needed about what to do or how do I access that, then to be able to watch a video as a reminder would be a big step forward. Yes, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, and there may be, I don't want to make definite promises, but there may be an online event coming up in February that Andrew's leading on to help with the NHS app, which we had planned for January and February on Eventbrite and using Zoom, and we realised they are barriers in themselves to getting online. So it's a really hard one, but and we really would like to do demonstrations of the app, but unfortunately we wouldn't be able to do that because you can only access a dummy account in a surgery, which is another barrier for us in a way, but we're hoping to get over that and try and film in a surgery. So yeah, there's a bit of work to be done on the videos. There's a few videos already out there, and we could also send those links out afterwards. They're not ones that we've produced, but again, you know, happy to send that through. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Karen. So I'm going to go Howard, Lucy, and then Alan, if that's right. So Howard first. Thank you.
All right. Hi there. I've switched the camera off because it's playing up again. First question, how much is this all sort of costing? Where do you get the funding from to do it? The other question is, of all the surgeries you've approached, have any sort of turned you down? And the reason I ask is a few years ago, in conjunction with Age UK, me and a lady from Age UK did this very, very sort of thing with patients at our surgery. This is before the NHS app, when we were doing it on System 1 online, and we ran 2 sessions, which was very well received, but as in small groups for about 6 patients at a time. Now Age UK lost the funding to carry that on, and I have since the pandemic offered to do this on my own back at our surgery on more than one occasion, and it seems to fall on deaf ears. The GPs think, yes, brilliant idea, but they're not seem to be taking me up on the offer.
I think, Howard, that's I think Joe knows it's not been easy to get into surgeries just because of the times and all the other pressing issues that they've got. And yes, I've had many initial meetings with surgeries only for them to say it's just not the right time. And I have reached out to every surgery across Leicester and Rutland, and I I say we've got about 20 people coming back to me, but out of those we've reached about just over 10. And where we've gone in, we have been asked to come back, and so I think that's a good sign that they when we make that right, when it's right, and that you've got this main contact who is fundamental, and it makes it happen as well. It really does work. And just to answer your first question, we got the funding from NHS charities. I think it was around 70,000, and it was over a few years. So it's but it is hard to it's hard to get continued funding and things like that, as all charities struggle with. So that's why I really want to leave behind a kind of legacy within the PPGs, at least, because that means if this does come to an end, that's still there, that kind of training. And what we also do at the end of every session is we now refer, well, we've always said we would refer people to a local digital a digital service like Age UK, for example, and we've collected all the information around digital inclusion projects within Leicestershire and Rutland, and we share that wherever we go, so we're not just leaving people in the lurch as well. And they can go to those services too. So yeah, and we're already working with Bushlows PPG, and we've trained 3 volunteers. They put forward with 4 people, and Andrew's about to start with them next Tuesday, and they'll be shadowing him for a few weeks. So yeah.
Okay, so going back to my second point, do you offer it to have these sort of one-to-ones outside of the surgery?
As I said, we have done that. I think it's better in the surgery, but where it hasn't been, we've worked in the library, for example. That was in Market Harborough.
Right.
But because you do need things like passwords, and sometimes they don't work, and then you've got to go back to reception. So it's not impossible, but it's easier if it's in a surgery.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Thank you, Howard.
Thanks.
Great, thanks, Howard. I'm coming on to Lucy first, if that's all right. You're on mute.
Yes, I was going to ask about the funding, but also could you tell me, the participant, is there any charge to them? Because the first time some of the people would think, oh, how much is it going to cost me?
No cost at all, no.
Great, that's great. And the funding will eventually be sorted out, do you think?
I think we do. I don't like. I think we might have something to extend it a bit beyond June. But then I don't know what will happen after that bit of funding. So yeah, it's that's why I'm really keen to sort of set up a kind of set up within different PPGs, but then also to have a plan for what happens if we did stop. How would you continue to find out about the latest information, for example, about your systems, etc.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, where's the funding actually coming from?
Oh, it's NHS charities at present. Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
yes.
Thank you.
And I think if you train up potentially training up PPGs now, then they've got the skills to continue with that.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
And Alan, would you like to come in? You're on mute.
Well, I better put myself on.
Paige, can you unmute Alan Bourne, please?
I can ask him to unmute, but I can't actually mute him or unmute him.
There you go. That better?
Yeah.
Good. 2 things. One, the Eventide event that's happening, where people can go online and learn. Well, if they haven't got any skills in the first place, how are they going to go online and learn? Which is the comment I've heard from various people in our practice. I have a feeling that I certainly haven't got time to do it. I'd be surprised if there might be one, if that, to undertake it. But will they come in and do the training some people anyway, even if a PPG member can't take over doing it?
Yeah, so are you asking, we have got some volunteers, we don't have a lot, and they're, you know, they're spread out. What I do is if I find a surgery in a particular area wants us to support them, then I try and recruit in that area. So it's not, even, I should have said, even if you go away today and there are no PPG members, but you'd like it at your surgery, then yes, we will talk to the surgery and try and work with them. Is that answer your question? Was there something else? Sorry if I missed something.
No, that's great. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean about online. I totally agree. It's really, really hard for people to access online training. I totally understand that. And it's a bit chicken and egg, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Alan. And Les.
Hello.
Hi.
When I was working, I was a Microsoft Systems integrator and qualified on Cisco. So if I can be of any help at all, please.
Well, we'd welcome you with open arms.
Not a problem.
Fantastic.
I know where to hit them to make them behave.
Who are you going to hit? Who are you hitting?
All the patients. So I know that your details are on the last slide, but are you okay to put it into the chat box as well, just so that if anybody wants to get it that way?
For people to contact me directly as well. So I'll just put it in there.
I don't mind making my email public. That's no problem.
Yeah, either way, if you want to put it in the chat box, Les, then you can link together. Phil, do you want to come in?
Keyboard.
Yeah, just an observation. We did this about 3 or 4 years in our surgery, 4 years ago, sorry, in our surgery, and we had about 8 people come through, and then immediately the apps were all changed. And it was futile.
Yeah.
There was no follow-up. There was nothing else. In fact, half the PPG couldn't understand to get on. You know, they had to kind of retrain themselves to get on in the first place without going back through the same patients or trying to add on additional ones.
Yeah, that's frustrating, isn't it? When you
and that's the same issue that we have if we recall the NHS app. I think fundamentally how to get onto the NHS app won't change, but you know, we may well say, oh, there's this you can do, that you can do. Then it might add something else, and then our videos might be a bit out of date and things like that. It constantly changes, and it is, you know, it's a lot of work for those that have already done some work with it, and frustrating. I mean, it's very frustrating for them, and then it provides more work, doesn't it?
Well, that's the problem. I've been working on computers for 54 years, so I don't think I'm ignorant. But some of the changes that have occurred, and we've had 2 or 3 over the last year, we'll say, some of them have been difficult to understand from the first place, and you've got to spend a lot of time. Even if you've access, people talk about system online, the patients don't understand these words. So there's a lot of work involved in the first place. But if the apps are going to change in any way from the top down, then it's futile because the people you've trained can't carry it on.
Yeah, and as long as, you know, us people are in the middle can communicate that back to people, you know, to the teams and say, you know, and I know there's a lot of work with Good Things Foundation. They've got like an older people's panel, and they have the ear of, you know, people, sort of internet and communication giants who they are listening to them. And I'm sure this kind of thing will be echoed, what you're saying about apps changing and the frustrations of that, and you know how it can halt learning in many ways.
Great points made there. Thanks ever so much. I know, Les, you put your details in the chat box. So Friday and Andrew, if you want to get in touch with Les, that would be wonderful. If anybody else wants to get in touch, then the details are in the chat box as well. So that's great. But brilliant presentation. Thanks for all the work that you're doing on there. I think it's a great project, and you know, maybe we're due to get something back out. We'll send something out to the wider PPGs as well. But it might be good for us to do something with our practice managers again and see if that's a way that we can promote.
Yeah, before you do, it might be worth us having a chat about those links we could share as well, so that
Perfect.
That's all
Yeah.
in there, the NHS app links, etc. So
Yeah, that'd be great. We can do that and we can promote through them. Right, well, you know, I thought we might finish early. Looks like we're not. So, but really, really good discussion. So thank you everybody for staying. So these are the times just that we've confirmed for the next meetings. We are proposing that the next one is going to be face to face. So we're just going to work through some details for that. I want to get you some response back from Chris West anyway, and when she's out of her meetings. So we'll forward those to you. But if you this is in the presentation, so if you want to have a look and make sure you've got these in the diaries, that would be great. So I think, is there any other business? And Beige, if you can stop sharing, that would be lovely. Has anybody else got anything else that you'd like to pick up? I can't see, so Beige, you can just stop sharing, please. Brilliant, thank you. So looks like there's no hands up. So thank you ever so much, everybody. Thanks for all of your feedback. Thanks for being patient with me on Chris West's presentation. And thank you to Friday and Andrew for attending and giving that excellent presentation. And to you all for attending. So it's lovely to see you all, and hopefully we'll see you in February at the face-to-face meeting.